Oh, let's see. All right. Whew. All righty. So let us set the energy of the space so that we can have a good live while we work. Ela amo sim, ela amo igi otami. Awadio igi akiokua. Ela Elaro akiokumo kurubiti. Elaro shonkrokifa. Entiti mikpanila. No washe buela fumi. Kotina koturu. Binio ela nila nikpe obamula. Ela omo simo wario. Ela mejimo wario. Ela moimboru. Ela moimboye. Ela moimbo shishe. Ela poke. Ini esi so asodo odum. Odum ho asodum. Iroko, Ojuno Nisiko, Ela Poke, Ela Ro, Ela Roko Wajubore, Ela Takuao, Ela Roko, Iti Irere, Ela Takungo Wajubore, Inu Irere, Ela Takungo Wajubore, Oju Irere, Ela Takungo Wajubore, Ela Mada Awo Ajewaro, Ela Mada Eji Ajewaro, Ashe. Eshu Odara, Eshu Anugrioko, Okuniorita Jalanga Langa Lalu, Aren Lanja Lalu, Ode Iri Ija de Mole, Ija Niotroba Delife, Tofi de Amo, Urueshu Toto Tokoni, Elfira Relale, Eshu Mashemio. Eshuma Shemio, Eshuma Shemio. Oh, me la Nicolushe, Bado Subida, no, I don't see what Ashe. Eshu Odada. I come today first as always to say thank you. Thank you for opening the ways so that I, Iya Owinni Adina Durosimi Faomi Shango, can sit and hold space for those who have come to hear the wisdom and medicine of Ifa so that I can bring insight, clarity, and communicate whatever the divine is calling me to share in this moment. Motupo for ensuring that it is E-Ray, it is good fortune that we are aligned to, that all the doors to negativity, to enemies, to adversaries, to all forms of Ajagun and their agents are closed, and it is only those aligned to hear that are open. Motupo, Ashe. Opieni funolorum. Iba oludumare, oba jiki mojiloni. Mobogu merinaye, iba uru, iba uru, iba riwa, iba usu, iba obaik baye, iba runoke, iba baba iba ye, iba gungu kiki gungu, ibori lu, iba ipanitiolun, ashe, ashe. Ori sanmi, Ori Sanmi, Ori Sanikete, Ori Sanikete, Orio Tansanbiki Iniolo, Orio Tansanbiki Imbemolemio, Orio Tansanbiki Iniaya, Orio Tansanbiki Ingolemole, Ori Sanmio, Ori Sanmio, Ori Sanmio, Aloma Ajiki Iwani Mope, Ashe, Asheo. Our Ori is a good Ori. Good Ori is our direct link to Olorun. Good Ori is Olorun's essence within us. Good Ori is our Ori. Ori, today on this Oshe Oni, this day of veneration for Obatala. I give gratitude and thanks for divine inspiration to hold conversation today around what it's like to live Ifa while being a Black girl in GA, while being a Black woman in the African American diaspora. Thank you for allowing wisdom to be shared on this day. Thank you for ensuring that those who are meant to receive are able to get what medicine that is being held in this wisdom today, and that any of the divine inspiration is allowed to come through. Mo do well, Ashe, 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 Ashe. Alafia daughter, Agbo Ato Oshori Iwori Wofu. Okay, so the YouTube comments come through. Would be the Facebook ones that be bugging. I can get the YouTube comments. Facebook ones just be not letting me live, not letting me be great. That's okay. That is okay. All right. Igun kikigun. Iguni kurandran fava ko pui pui. O basola funawo. Iguni kubata bangu bude. Biba faratori na laguna sade ashe, 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 ashe. To our honorable ancestors whose names are known and unknown on all sides and all planes of our existence. Ibashe to the honorable ancestors through the line of my mother. Ibashe to the honorable ancestors through the line of my father. Ibashe to my son, Gabriel Alexander. Ibashe to the honorable ancestors of my children. Ibashe to the honorable ancestors of Baba Suru. Ibashe to the honorable ancestors of my omos. Ibashe to the honorable ancestors of all those who come to hear the wisdom and medicine of Ifa on this day. Mo Dupwell. Ashe, 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 Ashe. So, Alafia, everyone. Good morning, Grand Rising. Good day. Happy Friday. Happy Venus Day. Eku ojo oshe oni, eku ojo oshe obatala, oshe iyami, oshe yemu. So today I did my veneration in the car already. So I've already done my official like veneration, but I do know that a lot of y'all come for that medicine of the Oriki. So I did want to at least give some of that basic Oriki for y'all. But as I was driving today, I was thinking about what some perceive are the challenges of coming to Ifa, especially in the diaspora, and what that looks like in terms of what that can look like. So this is probably going to end up being something where I do an official like series and just do some shorter form videos. But since I wanted to go live today and I wanted to be able to talk while I am making gifts for my kids' clinicians. So for most people, they know they have been coming a while. You know, my kids are on the spectrum. And so they have speech therapy and they have occupational therapy and they have ABA therapy. And so they have some clinicians for ABA and speech that they have been with for quite a while. And I wanted to make sure I gave them some gifts. So I'm in the middle of making them all bracelets. So they're mostly inspired by their personality, as well as like a couple of them, they're definitely inspired by who I think might be closest to them or what energy I think they might most resonate with. So like one of them, I know she's Wiccan. She and I talk, like we have some interesting conversations. I know she's Wiccan. And so I saw these little skulls and I was like, this is the most witchiest thing I can probably give to her. And also it felt very grounding and felt like, I don't know, there was something about the ancestors. So I did brown and gold for her. So that's what I'm working on now, is trying to get these pieces done. But like I said, I was driving and thinking about living Ifa, living Isheshe in America, and what that looked like for me and how going through this journey. And a couple of things that I was considering in terms of coming to this. So one thing that I would say, Alafia daughter, Alafia Oba, good morning, Ikaro. One of the things that I remember, Abo ato oshuri iwori wofu. One of those things that I remember was just what is my morning routine going to look like. So let me go backwards and say that my godmother said I was already living an EFI lifestyle, even though I was not actively practicing EFI when I met her. I was, reading, studying, doing certain things, and not looking back now, I know that there were some behaviors that are reminiscent of someone who's actively practicing E5, just doing it through a different lens. So things that I was actively doing at the time when I met my godmother was one, I was venerating my Ori on a regular basis. Good morning, Sugar Plum. It's good to see you. I was venerating my Ori on a regular basis. Like daily prayers to my Ori were absolutely a thing that I was already actively doing. And I give much gratitude to Obafemi, and I can't remember her full name, but I know on YouTube her name is Oyabumi. And those two were the ones whose videos I ran across on YouTube that talked a lot about Ori. And so for those who don't know what Ori is, just to oversimplify it, because I could do a whole 2 hours talking about Ori. Ori is the aspect of you that remembers it's God. That is what Ori is. Ori is God's consciousness living and existing as you. It is your physical self and your spiritual self all at once. So when you looking at that, that was something talked about often. Like I saw more than one creator say, there's always this talk about the Orishas, there's talk about the ancestors, but there's not a lot of talk about Ori. And Ashe, there's not a lot of talk about Ori. And when you are someone who comes to traditional Ifa, Isheshe Lagba, then you understand that there is nothing there is nothing but Olodumare that supersedes your Ori, because your Ori is Olodumare in you. So if it's in terms of if hierarchy is the visual that you need, it is Olodumare Ori in that order. There is nothing, no divinity, no nothing, no spiritual energy that supersedes your Ori. Abo Shishe Agbo Ato Alafia Logan. There's nothing that supersedes Ori. And so getting that understanding and kind of like sitting with it. And I was really surprised at how easily I just said, and it's probably because I'm an Aquarius. And you're probably like, why does that, because an Aquarius is logical in how it sees things, and understanding that from that Saturn energy, we might do things that are shocking, Uranus, but we are logical. And if you understand energy is not created nor destroyed, then that means if we just consider God as energy, then God's energy is in everything and everyone, including us. And from the Sheshe perspective, the way they describe that is Ori. The Ori complex is the explanation of God being in everything. That's what that is, and how that manifests and how that works through us. So understanding that, it was easy for me to accept and understand you honor your Ori first. If Ori is simply the terminology being used to say this is God inside you, of course I'm going to honor my Ori first. So Obafemi talked a lot about, coming to self and understanding the self. And so that's where I was doing a lot of self work before I got to my godmother. So between my astrology birth chart, my numerology chart, my human design and gene keys, I was looking at all of these things pre her. I was doing shadow work pre her, and what my intuition's like within me, so that I could learn how to call upon it instead of just simply following it. A lot of us know how to follow our intuition, but we don't know how to call that voice to us to get those immediate answers. So I was learning how to do those things prior to even coming into contact with my godmother. And I give a lot of credit to I put that and my Ori, because had my Ori not chosen a certain way for me to learn Ifa in the tradition, that's not how it would have happened. That's not how it would have happened. But I attracted educators within the tradition that spoke a lot about Ori, and thus I took a lot of that in. And when I understood Ori work, on the face is also simply self-love work, I started doing more of that work. Alafia, Agbo Ato Ashuri Iwori Wofu. So that was work I was doing. One of the other things is like, okay, you do a lot of if you are a priest in the tradition, or even someone that just simply knows how to do cowrie shell divination, then you do a lot of divining for yourself. You do a lot of check-in. Why? Because our ancestors understood those who stay ready ain't got to get ready. That's why we divine often. Those who stay ready ain't got to get ready. So at the time, I wasn't practicing E5, but I was divining for myself often. I pulled cards every day. I pull cards in the morning and I pull cards before bed. I pull cards every day. I was divining with myself every day. And thus, I always got the messages that I needed when I needed them. So when I was getting ready to get laid off from my job, I had head cards. That particular morning, it was posted this year. That particular morning, was not my typical my Dafa day. So that particular day, I pulled cards, and that particular day, the cards was like, "Hey, about to end, whatever it is," and I'm like, "Hey. What y'all doing?" Because there's a lot of closing out. That's a closing out cycles energy y'all got going. What's about to end? And that day, that's the day I was laid off. That same day. So divining on a regular basis. If you were someone a high priest, and this might be for Olo as well, but definitely for Awo. If your elder has trained you on how to do that, and you know how to do that, and it has given you that like clearance to do so, then yes, that's the way that you would do that. If you're not an owl, is to use shells or use OB divination. So yes, Lafia, good morning, Waffle Crusher. So being able to divine for myself prior to meeting my godmother was significant. So now I'm doing Ori work, and I'm dividing for also ancestor veneration. So my morning look like I get up. If I got up for the kids, great. Got up for my kids, I was able to kind of take that quiet time, say some prayers to my prayers. All I knew is this tradition talked about honoring yourself and honoring your ancestors. That resonated with me, so that's what I did. So I'd say my prayers. So I'd pray to God, I'd pray to my Ori, and I would pray to my ancestors. And I'm saying pray because that's a Western understood term. That's not what I was doing. I was talking to them. I would give honor and reverence to them. And then I tell them, like, about my, like, especially, I would just talk. This is what happened yesterday. This is about the day. This is going on with the kids. Yeah. I would just talk to them. I would just hold general conversation. A lot of times, sometimes we overcomplicate the things. Just talk. Just talk. That is absolutely it. Simply just talk. So I was doing that. The Orishas did come into play because much like anyone else here in the diaspora, when we discovered the Orishas, that call, if we are actually ones called to the tradition, is loud. And you're like, I don't know what to do. And you're just trying to figure it out. So yes, I had my altar with the Orishas on it and was listening and things of that nature. I pull cards and I did divination for myself often. And because tradition called to me, the Orisha tarot deck, and if anybody's interested what it looks like, the box is behind me, I'll grab it. But that deck told me I needed an elder. That is the deck that told me I needed an elder. That is also the deck that, even though the deck includes patakis, the stories, patakis are a fragment of what's in the Odu. They are a portion story because they're still not the whole Eton from the Odu, but they are part of Eton from the Odu. And that was actually the thing that supported me in being able to recognize Odu when I started learning Odu. So there are bits of certain things that you're doing prior to tradition, and that was one. So One had told me I needed an elder, but the first elder I needed was not an Ephi elder. The first elder I needed was someone to help me trust in my gift. So that was Kai. And Kai Luna is the one that helped me with my gifts. When I reached out to Kai, Kai and I used to work together in Magenta Land, and I knew Kai had gone through a spiritual awakening. I was watching their content, that nature. And so Kai, when I reached out, I said, I think I'm having a spiritual awakening. And so I explained what was going on, and they're like, okay, let's talk. And I told them, like, I feel like I need a mentor to help me because there was just a lot of things happening and I wanted some direction. So here's the other piece of this: having an elder, having a mentor, having a guide. If you are Black and spiritual and you ain't got no elder, bless you. But if you're trying to do it like your ancestors, if that's your intention, you need an elder. You need a mentor. And I know our Gen X folks, my fellow latchkey kids, that's a struggle. Your fellow latchkey kids like, oh man, I got to take rules, orders for somebody. And we're going to talk about that elder relationship because that's not what it is. So Kai and I had our first session and we're having this conversation about what do you want? And ultimately, what's your goal for this journey? And I said, I want to have a relationship where I don't feel like God hates me. I want a relationship with God where I don't feel like I'm always getting it wrong and that I can really have a relationship with God. And Kai said, say less. Now, a funny part of this story is that immediately afterwards, I had ordered some crystals. So by then I had discovered crystals. I ordered my first crystals and they had come in the mail that day. I didn't know they were in the mail. I went and checked the mail after I finished my conversation and the crystals are in the mail. And I want to say, and it's like, okay, all these crystals, no one told me don't put them all in my hand at once. No one said it would not be a good idea. It would behoove me to investigate, look at them one at a time. And considering what I had just said to Kai, the power of the word is powerful because my spiritual report said, oh, she ready now. And someone's like, okay, well, my clairaudience activated it. No. 6 clairs activated for me simultaneously. All of them activated simultaneously. It's like they were asleep and it was like they was woke up. And I was like, oh, bruh. So we get these crystals in our hand and now my clairsentience is clairsentient. Like I always felt things, but I didn't know that's what it was. But no, it wasn't like this. I had a crystal in my house for months, probably over a year, because someone gifted me one, a big chunk of amethyst. But it wasn't until I had that conversation and I put them crystals in my hand, I almost hit the floor. I had to catch the wall because so much energy passed through me at once and I wasn't ready for it. So I almost hit the floor. So that's my funny story about my first time really being able to feel the energy coming off crystals. So I continue taking classes with Kai. Kai helped me learn how to trust my intuition. We did exercises where I actively had to channel automatic writing. Kai gave me this exercise with Uno cards where they would have an Uno card and tell me I needed to tell what that Uno card was. And so we did a lot of that work like that. Kai helped me understand if my clairaudience is overactive, that means I'm probably overactive my crown chakra and do work to actually balance that out. Taking spiritual baths. I was doing so then like adding spiritual baths to my regimen and including my head. And I call that out specifically because I did not realize that people would take a spiritual bath but not include their hair. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's part of your body. Like, to me, it just made sense. If I got to clear my energy, I got to clear it all. So I just included my hair naturally. Even before I was locked, I would include my hair naturally. And I definitely included it when I started locking my hair journey. And I'm like, but I didn't know that. I went and did readings at the apothecary and it kept coming up intuitively regardless of whether I did an Ifa divination or tarot, they needed to cleanse their ori. And so I would ask them, I was like, well, do you take spiritual baths? And they're like, yeah. Do you spiritually wash your hair? What? What do you mean, what? Do you spiritually wash your head? And they would be like, no. And I'm like, okay. So from the actual culture of chakras, your crown chakra is not limited to your head. That is a westernized perception of the crown chakra. That being said, because you live in a westernized world, learning about your chakras, you know, where's your crown chakra? Your head. Okay, cool. That's your spiritual, that's your antenna, right? Yeah. Shouldn't you keep your spiritual antenna clean? And then they would sit and look like, and I'm like, yeah, you should wash that spiritually. So you can either do that the way that you do your spiritual wash, or you can book an Ori cleanse with me. But either way, that joint needs to get done. Either way, it needs to get done. So I'm doing all this work. Again, I am not practicing Ifa at this time. When I feel led to, I would leave offerings for the Orishas that I had on my altar, but I was not actively an Ifa practitioner. I was just hanging out on the outside studying. So by the time I get to my godmother, she cast the first Odu, and the first words out her mouth are, "You are already living Ifa." You too, honey, you're already living Ifa. And at the time, I didn't understand what she meant. But when I look at the principles of Ifa and what it means to be an active devotee and practitioner in the religion, I was actively living Ifa. The thing that is different now than before is I got some Yoruba prayers I can do. I can sing Oriki in Yoruba, whether I know it by heart or I can find something there, I can read it. I got some prayers in Yoruba I can do. I have actual consecrated shrines for my Orishas. I got a nicer ancestor altar. I just built upon what I was already doing. I was already reading for myself. So now, instead of just doing tarot, I do a dafa every 4 to 5 days. I was already living that. So when it became more formalized, and again, at this time, I have a full-time job. I am the mother of 2 small humans. I didn't know at that time, both of my humans were on the spectrum, but I knew at least one was on the spectrum. And I'm trying to figure out how to at this time, he didn't even have services. I'm still actively trying to figure out his services, where he can get speech therapy, OT, ABA. I'm actively trying to do these things. So I have a full life. And then here comes, let's go ahead and throw in having a spiritual awakening and start having a spiritual practice. And what I realized is my rituals, and that's what it is. Anything you do on a regular basis, a repetition in the same way, or generally, that's a ritual. That is a ritual. You brush your teeth every day, that's a ritual. You put clean clothes on every day, that's a ritual. For those of you who make your bed every day, I won't lie and say that I do. But if you do that every day, that is a ritual. These things are important to you. You need to do them because they allow your day to flow in a certain way. The same thing applies when you come to your spiritual practice like Ifa or even anything else. Is it important? Is it important or is it optional? My relationship with my spiritual core is actively important, and I enjoy my spiritual practice. 6, 7, 8. I think that's good. I enjoy my spiritual practice. That's the other piece of the puzzle. I enjoy my spiritual practice. You see those videos and they talk about things that you would do. If what kind of work would you do if money wasn't involved or anything like, or how would you be living? I'd still be doing this. I enjoy my spiritual practice. I enjoy my relationship with the Most High. I enjoy the relationship I have with my Ori, my ancestors. I enjoy it. I actually love it. And it is something that I cultivated. I cultivated what I wanted the relationship to look like. Hey, look, this is what feels good to me. This is what doesn't feel good to me, especially having the spiritual gifts. Once I knew, I decided to have a spiritual awakening at 41. It's 41 years old, you're going to have a spiritual. And hey, guess what? At 41 years old, you're going to remember that you've always been psychic. Okay. Okay. And then things started to make sense. And then I'm like, bruh, what am I supposed to do with this? That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. It is a lot. And then you start looking around, and my Gen Xers, my Gen X and older millennials are going to get it. You start looking around and you realize your counterparts that are younger than you started having this happen years ago. And now you're asking questions like, why is this just now happening for me? Because that's when you're supposed to, respectfully. You're not behind the 8 ball. This is something that I had to come to grips with. You're not late and you're not behind the 8 ball. You're not late and you're not behind the 8 ball. You are where you are supposed to be at the time you are supposed to be there. So being able to understand how that looks and the way it's going to manifest for you is always going to be different. So I go through and I'm trying to figure out the elder situation from the Ifa side, because my current mentor let me know, like, hey, I can only take you so far. Once you actually formalize that you want to go to it, and by the way, ancestors are nudging you in this direction, you got to find someone in the tradition. And so I'm like looking around, and for me, I didn't think I was coming, not formally, because I did not feel like I was going to practice Ifa. And that the truth is, there was a lot of misogyny in the content creators that I was seeing. And I did not want a relationship with the divine that's like a relationship out of the Bible. That's the relationship I'm trying to get away from. So there was no way I wanted to come to the tradition in a way that still had me feeling like I was dealing with angry male God of the Bible. I want that relationship. I didn't want that relationship with God, and I definitely didn't want that relationship with my ancestors or anything else. So why would I go and initiate with anyone that's just going to give me back angry male God in a different package? I didn't want it. So I was content with where I was in the equation of how I was going to commune, and I was content where I was at. But I was also actively hoping that I could find someone I could learn from, because I did want to learn more. I wanted to learn more, and I had an ingrained respect for the idea that I needed to learn from somebody. Like I had a respect of the idea that I'm going to learn, but I also need to learn from someone. So I go through and, I'm looking at everybody on social media, and I'm just like, I don't want it. I'm looking and I'm like, I don't want it. I don't want to deal with none of them. I don't want none of them. And then my cousin, who also happened to be 40 something years old, having a spiritual awakening, introduces me to Coffee and Toast radio show on Facebook. And the host, Awo Faleyewa, was an Awo practicing traditional Ifa here in the diaspora, Black and Puerto Rican. And I'm like, So I start listening, and in the most platonic way, like, I'm like, oh my God, all I want to do is listen to her talk. That's it. I'm like, all I want is to listen to this lady teach. I could not put into words why. All I knew is all I wanted to do was her teach. Whatever she had to say, I just wanted to hear about it. That's it. I wanted to hear what she had to say, and I was ready to listen and ready to learn. She taught from the Odu and brought it to everyday life. She taught from the Odu and she brought it to everyday life. And I was just like, yes, this is it right here. This is how this Odu looks, and this is how you can see it in a day-to-day. This is what you do. Okay, cool. My cousin gifted me the divination with her, and it is one of the best ones I've had. Like one other person that I have allowed to divine for me that rivals it. And it was so cool because, she goes through and just gives me I told her, just tell me what E5 wants me to know. And so that's what she started with. And then she asked me what I wanted to know, and I asked her about work because I knew that, nope, so help me. By the time I met her, I was separated from my husband. And so I'm now newly a single mother trying to figure that life out. My kids and my son has just started getting therapy. I'm recognizing that his probably also. I had a lot going on. Just like I can't quit my job yet. Like I can't. I need to figure out this first. And so I'm telling her this, and I'm telling her what I want and how I want it, and the way it wants to manifest, and this is what I feel like is going on. And I love the fact that she said, she encouraged me straight out the gate, like straight from the door. It was, they're calling you, they're telling you to keep going, don't stop, don't give up, don't quit. You are doing the right things. You are living in alignment with your Iwapele. You just have to have more confidence in the fact that you are. You just simply need more confidence in the fact that you are. You've been verbally cleansing your Ori every day for a year. You have been verbally cleansing your Ori every day for a year. That's some powerful work. So when she tells me, when I ultimately make the decision to initiate and finally do, one of the things I remember is that, how do I do this now? Like I've got this whole way I've been doing things. Now, what does it need to look like now? I still work, but I also now need to add like Ifa divination, which I'm trying to master, into my routine. And this is what it looked like. Y'all gonna see these spiritualists and see these books and tell you, you're not spiritual if you're not up at 3, 4, 5 in the morning doing your thing. I am here to tell you, as a fully initiated Iya Nifa, I got kids. And at that time, I was working full time. And I still had to run them around for their various therapy appointments. Well, you know what I'm not doing? Committing to something I can't keep up. I'm not committing to something I can't keep up. And you know what I can't keep up? Getting up at 3, 4, 5 in the morning when I'm exhausted. I can't commit to that. Can't commit to that. I am tired. I'm tired. What I can commit to is that I'm coming daily. That's what I can commit to. I could commit that I'm going to come to my spiritual court every day. That's what I could commit to. So I would go take my kids wherever they needed to go, drop offs, whatever that looked like at the time. I'd come home, I'd log in for work, and at some point, I'd take a break. At some point, I take a break because my day just not going to be right if I don't get these prayers in. They're just not going to be right. So at some point in that morning, I take a break. And I would go and sit in my shrine room and I'd say my prayers. Now, if I was still working in the building at the time, you know what it looked like? The way it looks now. My morning veneration with my kids, I got little ones on the spectrum. Sometimes sitting still is not a thing. Like I recognize that. So sometimes I got to catch them when they're a captive audience in the car. In the car. We do Oshe in the car. I am driving down the road, singing and invoking and doing Oriki in the car. You think they're not sitting in the car beside me? Just hanging out. Doing my venerations in the car, because the most important part is I came. The most important part of my spiritual practice is that I come forward. I come forward in my spiritual practice. That's the most important part of it. You think they don't see that I'm trying to like run these kids around the ball? You think they don't see me? They see me. They absolutely see me. So you know what I'm doing? I'm doing it in the car, which means, you know what I had to do? At least most of them, I had to make it a point to try to remember as many of the Orikis I like by heart. And whether that had to be in Yoruba or English, I had to remember as many of them as I could by heart, so that I'm not trying to read my Kindle on my phone when I'm, in the car. I try to be safe. And if there's one that I can't remember, you know what? That's why I got an Orisha playlist. That's why I got an Orisha playlist. Look, Ella Andal go hard in the paint. Alafia Cezanne, Ago Ato Oshuri Iwori Wofun. I like Ella Andal. Look. Them I have memorized. So if I can't remember anything else, let me turn on this Ogun. Let me turn on this Ochosi and sing. Let me turn this on and sing to them. And they hear you. They hear me. It's the idea that your spiritual court don't see you. They don't see what your life looks like here in the they do. They absolutely see you. They see you. They see what's going on. They see what's happening, and they see you. You know what I do when I'm sick? Do you think I don't know? If anything, I might be more intentional when I don't feel well. Will the notes be flat? Absolutely. Notes gonna be flat. Don't y'all not no. I got a sore throat. You're not for the cat. Yeah, Boja. And my tonsils swollen? Absolutely not. That's what's not happening. It's not happening that way. She's not. I'm not calling her that way. She's still coming. She understands that the tonsils is swollen. The tonsils is swollen. Like, we're not doing that. We're not. It's not happening. I'm gonna give it to them with my whole heart, though. The language of Orisha is love. That's their language. The language of the Orisha is love. And when you operate in the energy of love of your spiritual practice and know that they love you back, love in your spiritual practice and know that they love you back, oh, baby, look. Understanding how beautiful that relationship makes manifest. You are in the diaspora. They see you. They see you. The ask is call us. Like, call us. I follow, what is he called? Oh, what's his name? I know he's a gentle Dom, but I don't think that's his name on TikTok. But he made this video talking about, giving help and da-da-da. And he said, for all of y'all that keep giving help, ask for help. And that was loud and aggressive. Ask for help, because you make it harder on people when you don't ask. And it's like, help me, help you. And I'm just like, oh, that was loud and aggressive, because closed mouths don't get fed. Exactly. And our spiritual court wants us to talk to them. And you don't have to know. I'm gonna say this every time I go live. You do not have to know every name of every member of your spiritual court. Your spiritual court looks like the stars in the cosmos. I won't even say in the sky, because we don't see them like that all the time. When you were to see the stars in the cosmos, that is your spiritual court. You think you're gonna learn all the names? Do you? You think it's necessary to know all those names? You don't. What you need to know is your Ori. What you need to know is your Ori. You're not going to know all their ancestors. You know who knows them all? Your Ori does, because your Ori picked out which family it wanted to incarnate in. Your Ori picked out which family to incarnate in. That means your Ori knows all your ancestors. From the most ancient to the most recent, your Ori knows all of your ancestors. If the only thing you can do is say, even to all of my honorable ancestors, names known and unknown on both sides of my family and all planes of my existence, understand your Ori knows who all the folks is and who they are. Your Ori knows. So if you only ever learn how to venerate generate your Ori? Because for some, that's where it stops. How do I generate my Ori? And that's the mission. That's the mission. That's the plan. That is the focal point of the religion. Everyone else is in support of the Ori. Everyone else is in support of the Ori. And when you are Black and growing up in the midst of, when I didn't even grow up in other religion, I grew up as an Israelite. I didn't even grow up in other religion. However, growing up around everyone else will have you sleeping on how big, bold, and powerful and majestic you truly are. Because they grow up and learn, and if you're in the Abraham, we all grow up learning that there is no power with us. No power. The power is always outside of us. We hold no power. We hold no wisdom. We hold no power. We hold nothing. And then you come to Isheshe, and it's like you have everything. You have everything. And you are the conduit connecting it all together. You have everything, and you are a conduit connecting all of it together. That is work to try to then, this is why when you're trying to live Ifa in the diaspora, it's not just deconstruction. A lot of people talk about you got to deconstruct. You also have to rebuild. You can't tear down the tower and leave rubble. You who understand this, you don't just tear the tower down and just leave the rubble sitting there. The meshes of the card is what we build top of it. Just coming down, it is what we build top of it. This is why in my class, like one of the questions they ask is, what do you want your relationship with God to look like? What does that look like? You're sitting and you're having lunch with God. What do you want to say? You have to come to a point where your relationship with the Most High is not centered upon fear. It is holding an understanding that if God is incarnated you, is incarnated as you, why would you be unworthy of yourself? Why would you be unworthy of the affection from yourself? Would be worthy blessings from yourself? Why would you be unworthy of that? So especially us being Black in America, we got to remember we are worthy. And us here in the diaspora has to understand, not are we worthy of blessings, we are worthy of that relationship with Ifa that our ancestors were robbed of, that they had to, like we in this, and we love them for that. And we also understand we can have hoodoo and the mother traditions. We can have them because there is wisdom in it all. So you go and you know, I'm working and trying to figure out life as a mother. What do I do as a mother to help, you know, live Ifa? And it's like, I can't make this fit. And it's not like a checkbox. Are there certain things? Look. I didn't expect a sermon, but here we are. Like we look at these things about what we do in our day-to-day practice, our rituals and things of that nature. Are there certain components, certain elements that are consistent, that kind of flow like we do on a regular basis? Yes. But I don't want you to come to it like I got to check off these boxes. Because when you come to it like you check off your boxes, you are cultivating a relationship built on discipline and not love and affection and adoration for the practice. You're not building it like it does not hold the same energy when you build it in that way. The energy is not the same. And so I don't feel like I got this multitude of boxes. This one, it's inspired. So might get a little whisper of her, but I'm making bracelets for the clinicians that work with the boys as their gifts. So it'll get some whispers, but it won't be an official E-Day. It'll just like certain ones I let see who I was inspired by. Like this one young man, he always got this like I just feel like he needs some Obatala with him, so I made him white. The one guy that they work with, I made him white. I mean, I thought about making him Sean Gold, and I was like, I'm gonna make him this white girl. I'm channeling Obatala. I'm calling some Obatala energy for him because he always got some black on it. I just want to like whispers and stop wearing that goddamn black. So yes, so how do I keep doing this and like life be life in? There are days where I'm sad, I am depressed, and you know what I love is that I can come and sit at the feet of my Ori and Olodumare and my Orishas, and I can tell them, you know what? I am annoyed AF. I am annoyed, I am frustrated, I am all of the things, and I can give it to them. I can give it to them. And I don't have to feel like I am being blasphemous or anything else like that. You know why? Because they see me. They see me. They have watched me go through whatever I'm going through. And what they're asking of me is to like, give it to me. Stop trying to carry it on your own. Give it to us. You're not alone. You've never been alone, but now you know you're not alone. Now you know. Now you are fully aware that you are not alone, and you still insist upon carrying it by yourself. And all we want you to do is let it go. Give it to us. Let us carry it for you. Let us carry it with you. Sometimes that's it. Sometimes it's like allow yourself to receive. Just allowing yourself to receive. And like, that is not easy for us here. We have grown up being told that we have to get it out of the mud, that the only way we get what we deserve is if we struggle to have it. And Ifa says, I mean, you could struggle, or you could give this Ebo. Or you could give this Ebo, change a few of your behavior. You got some habits that don't serve you. Change these few things. Yeah, that color you've been wearing every day, all day. Yeah, stop wearing that. And maybe, just maybe, you might see that God did not stop being in the miracles business. That the miracles still happen. They're not just in that book. You can experience those miracles too, and you don't have to prove yourself worthy of them. You simply have to be in the energy of alignment to them to get your miracle, to get your blessing. That's it. You just have to be in alignment. You got to be living a lifestyle that says this miracle is aligned to me. That's your PIN number to your spiritual bank account. Your good behavior. Your good behavior and walking in your authenticity. Good behavior, walking in your authenticity. And let me just talk about the fact that good behavior does not mean you holier than thou. Good behavior does not always mean, well, I'm going to go vegan. Because guess what? Some of y'all are trying to be vegan, and that is out of alignment. You are not walking in your Iwa Pele because you are not meant to be vegan. Some of y'all fasting every other day, and fasting is a taboo, and thus you are not walking in alignment with your Iwa Pele. That's why your blessing won't come, even though you fast every other day. You're not supposed to be fasting because your Ori don't go without. You fast all the time. And you're like, well, the fasting should be bringing my blessings. I want to make, I'm fasting. You're not fasting for God. No, you're not. God ain't dead. God don't need you to fast. You fasted for you. You fasted because somebody on social media told you that if you were spiritual, you would fast periodically. And then you go and consult Ifa and realize you are violating your grand design. You ain't meant to fast. Ashe, you are not meant to fast. When I met my godmother, like I said, wasn't practicing Ifa at the time, met her, and she gave me an assignment. And the assignment included fasting. Now, I am an Aquarius, Cancer rising, life path 11. Sometimes I just go all the way in. So what did I do? I didn't just give something up. I full fasted for 4 days straight. Full. Dry, full, no food, no water for 4 days. Granted, I knew what my answer was regarding the reason why, the ritual. On the ritual itself was 7 days. So about 5 days into the ritual, I knew what I was going to do. But when I tell you that I have done that ritual multiple times, but I can't fast, I cannot fast. And initially, I didn't know why that was the case until I dug deeper into my personal Odu. And when I dug deeper into my personal Odu, so not the one you get every day, but this is mine. Like this is with me for life. You're not supposed to fast. Oh, you're not supposed to go without. You are not supposed to treat yourself like lack, like you're in. Fasting tells my body, tells my energy that I'm in poverty. That's what it does. I'm not allowed to fast because it is equated to being in poverty. There should be no reason why I am going without. So I am not to have certain behaviors because they put me in the wrong energy. I'm not allowed to fast. Some of y'all want to harp on everybody spiritual should be fasting. Everybody spiritual should be walking in alignment with who they are. And everybody ain't meant to fast. Everybody ain't meant to be vegan. Hell, everybody ain't meant to practice Ishe. I have done divination for a young woman, and she's like, the Orisha are calling me, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, okay, well, let's see. And so I'm casting the Ifa, and I'm looking at her, and I'm looking at Odu Efel, and I'm looking at her, and look at Odu Efel, and I'm giving her the message, but I'm still looking at her. There's something extra. There's something extra. Walking in your Iwapeli means being who you are. I am a divination nerd. So in terms of forms of divination, I already talked about tarot and oracle cards. I am also a highly proficient medium in oracle. I do some bibliomancy. I read I Ching. I do some rune divination. You know, astrology, numerology. I am a diviner, well-rounded, notwithstanding Obi via Obi and cowrie shells, Merendelogun, Opole Iki. I am a diviner. So I'm looking at her and I'm like, you got any relationship with like Norse or Celtic or anything? And she's like, yeah. And I'm just like, hey, hold on a second. And I get my runes. Yeah, she's hearing Shango because that's the phone she's willing to answer. That's not who's actually trying to call her. Though Shango's got a three-way call going on between her and Odin because that's what came up in the runes. And thus I explained to her that, yes, she needs to have Isefa. She needs a hand of Ifa. This is not an initiation. This is a ceremony. She needs hand of Ifa because that is going to help her cultivate alignment with her destiny. But she is not meant to initiate into the tradition. She needs help aligning to her destiny. What she needs to do is have a better relationship with the divinities of her ancestors. She needs to take care of the ancestors, the divinities that took care of her ancestors. That's who she's supposed to be cultivating her relationship with. And that is the beautiful thing about the religion. It's be who you are. It is be who you are. So if you come and it's like, well, yeah, this is going to help you align to your destiny. But what's also part of your destiny is that you're supposed to be doing this. You don't have to be somebody you're not. The year after I initiated, was the year after? Yeah, the year after I initiated, I did a poetry showcase. I had been writing poetry. I had a couple of books published, and I wanted to do a showcase of all the different ways I wrote poetry. And so the showcase was love, lust, and light, highlighting all the various ways my poetry showed up. Sometimes it's spiritual, sometimes it's romantic, sometimes it's emotional shadow work, and sometimes, it's not suitable for work. And when I say I had the full backing of Ifa, why? Because I was walking in my Iwapele. See, some of y'all feel like that looks like, you're not having fun and you're not living life. Like, like you not living life and you not existing. No, I did a whole poetry show. Love, lust, and light, embodying all aspects of who I am through my poetry. Some of it made you cry, some of it made you feel love, some of it made you want to go home and make children, whatever that looked like. You know, that's what it was. That's what it was meant to be. And I chose an MC who was spiritual. And he said, you went and the room's been full of spirits since you started. They're just having a good time. And I was like, well, all right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I need a little more. And I was like, okay, you know, that's all I wanted. I wanted everybody, the humans and the spirits alike, to have a good time. Everybody ain't meant to be a priest. That's the other thing. Like, you come in the diaspora, and a lot of times that's what you see, that's what you hear, and that's not the case. It's not what it is. It's not what it is. Everybody ain't meant to be a priest. When you reserve certain ceremonies, initiations, it's helping you to unlock the door of Ashe that is lying dormant within you or not supremely active so that you can better align with your destiny. Everyone that undergoes an initiation does not decide that they got to teach Ifa and things of that nature. They live it. They live it. And that's the difference. They live the lifestyle. They live it. They now have means and access to be able to do things. Hey, I'm doing such and such a thing. Now consult Ifa. Abo shishe agbo ato. They can consult Ifa now because they have the authority to do so. They can consult Ifa. Because the reality is, hold on, TikTok's gonna. So let me move my little puzzle piece. God dang it! Use your thumb. It never works out. Okay, there we go. So they now can they the struggle. That's the other. Like, let me just say this: if you are someone ceremony, and you are not learning how to live Ifa in such a way so that you don't have to struggle, are you alone? Are you alone? One of the things that my godmother gave, that was the most powerful wisdom she ever gave me, is use your tools. One of the most powerful things she ever gave me, a powerful piece of advice, was use your tools. That's what you got them for. Some of them are, yes, but the ultimate, like, use your tools. Help yourself. I was like, you need such a time. And when I allowed myself quickly, now I ain't gonna say it's gonna come fast for everybody. I just know my own relationship with my spiritual core. It's coming quickly. But I gotta operate in my knowing of how to use my tools. I gotta know that what is the first thing you need to do? Because this is just to my friends. First and foremost, is this already in alignment? Is it already on the way in the form of erase and in good fortune? Is it already in alignment and good fortune? Yay or nay? If it's not, what is there anything I can do, or is it just not for me? It will be in good fortune if you did X, Y, Z. What's the deal? What's the deal? Are you handling this solo? Is this a solo venture? You work with somebody else, or have you delegated it? Because you without the sanction of your head. So even if it is not directly Ori that is giving it to you, Ori delegated it to you. So I'm still asking my Ori, where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? Where am I getting this good fortune from? And so being able to do that, able to have that, even if you can't go to anyone else, Even if you can't go to anyone else, you can always go to your Ori. Always, 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 always. And that's how you that's what it takes here in the diaspora, is learning how to do it, go into your Ori, how to go to your Ori, how to learn what your Ori sounds like. If you don't have cowrie shell divination, trust and believe, you can still get a yes or a no from your Ori without it. So learning how to do that for yourself, being empowered, finding an elder to empower you to do that, so that you can bring about lasting change in your life. Ifa will help you bring lasting change in your life, even here in the diaspora. Even for us Black folks here in the diaspora, Ifa will bring lasting change for us. Right here, where we are. Right here, where we are. With folks that look like us. Right here, where we are, with folks that look like us, that sound like us. Living Isheshe is a choice that you desire to do, and then you commit to it. And you don't have to be perfect. Like, if there's one thing the Odu and all of the stories will show you, is that there isn't a perfect one among them, including Rumila. There are plenty of times where Rumila did not give that ebo and learned the hard way, just like we would. We're not asked to be perfect. We are not to aspire for perfection. We are to aspire for authenticity. We're not to aspire for perfection. We're to aspire for authenticity. Sometimes you're just going to mess up. Sometimes you're going to go left when you should have went right. And someone gave a really great analogy of that with GPS. GPS, Google Maps, don't be sitting there when you're using your GPS and you go the wrong way, talking about, why'd you go that way? I told you to do XYZ. That's not what happens. What happens is your GPS reroutes. You might end up on a longer path, but you get where you're supposed to go. That is what Isheshe brings. You might end up on a longer path because you went left instead of right, but you're going to get where you go if you are willing to follow the new path. Being able to be in a religion where one, feminine energy is so honored and centered that 3/4 of the tools are named after women, are named after feminine energies. The greeting, the full greeting. I know some of y'all do the half greeting and stop at a Boro Oboye, but the full greeting, because you haven't fully greeted the elder if you don't say all three. Just an FYI. If you don't do Oburu, Oboye, and Abo Shishe, you have not fully greeted the elder. And thus the elder now has to complete the greeting before they can do their part. Oburu, Oboye, and Abo Shishe, depending on the lineage, who they are the daughters of. But one thing that is consistent is they are the names of 3 Iyami, 3 wise mothers. And so before you receive a greeting from an elder in this tradition, you must greet 3 wise mothers. When you greet your shrines, if you are Awo and you're greeting your shrine, Aburu, Oboye, 3 wise mothers before anything else can take place, before any blessings can be had. 3 wise mothers must be called. That is that's a powerful statement when you, especially like women in the diaspora. Look, that's a whole other thing. Cezanne, look at you. Look, that's a look. So, because now that you say that, yeah, but then you have Opwele. And a lot of people know Opwele is the name of one of the wives of Orunmila, another feminine energy. Opwele is a feminine energy. For those that know, what do we call our shrines? Pots. The word for pot is Odu, which is the word for a womb. They are wombs holding that sacred energy. That's what they are. They are wombs Our shrines are little wombs. The shrines are wombs. The shrines are wombs. The opon is a symbolic, the sacred calabash, the sacred womb of creation. All of this calling in this feminine energy. And then you grow up in a world, especially as Black women, that separates you from your divinity. When 3/4 of this religion calls it out loud, screams it in our face, we can't get away from it. We can't get away from it. So Living East Shay Shay, exactly. So Living East Shay Shay here in the Black American diaspora, one of the benefits, especially for Black women, is a reclamation of our own personal divinity because it surrounds us. Because it surrounds us. Abo shishi agbo ato alafia. I don't know which one of y'all it is, so I'm just gonna say awo alafia awo. So it surrounds us. Living East Shay Shay in Black America looks like asking Ifa questions about your life, the world. And understanding, like for me personally, my relationship with Ifa is mine. Even though we are a communal relationship, you still have your personal relationship. And I think sometimes that's the thing that scares people off. Well, I'm going to have to do this like everybody else. When you are in community, it is going to look like everybody else because you're all doing the same thing at the same time together. Yeah, it's going to look the same in community. But it doesn't mean that when you go home and you have your personal relationship with your divinities, that it looks exactly like your neighbors. It's not. It's not. Me dating someone in the tradition and being able to venerate with that person is an amazing thing because no matter which one of us is leading, because we do take turns. Sometimes they're the one leading the prayer. Sometimes it's me. Sometimes I'm like, hey, you know what? They need to hear my voice today. And he'll be like, all right, say less and let me sing. Alafia, that he let me sing. He let me do what it do. We don't sing the same chants in Orikis. I have the ones that I have learned through my lineage, and he has the ones he has learned through his lineage. And sometimes they overlap, and sometimes they don't. The ability to venerate and fellowship in community is not a call for us to be identical in our one-on-one relationships with the divine. Your relationship with Ifa, Orisha, your Ori, and Ego is still independently, uniquely yours. The community aspect of it, what it does is help us to cultivate even stronger change. When you have multiple avos with the same in the room, calling down the energy, the fabric of reality can change. So when you have a community, it hit different. It hit different. It's a different kind of energy. During my Odunfa this past September, being able to have my almost physically present, it's a different thing when y'all hear me on the videos and do Oriki, and then you get it in person. It's a different kind of energy. It's a different kind of energy. I had to walk around and stand on a couple of feet from time to time. Like, hey, stay in your body. Stay here. Like, hey, give her back to me. Give her back, because it's a different kind of energy in community, for one, and a different kind of energy in community in person is a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother beast. That is a whole nother beast. It's not about trying to make you copy and paste each other. It's not trying to make me copy and paste each other. You are meant to have your own relationship. So when you're sitting by yourself with the divine, talk to the way you do. I have a relationship with Ifa that affords me the ability to ask questions that I don't think anybody else thinks to ask. When I sell all the content, like all these content creators talking about, we were already here. None of our ancestors come from Africa. Look, you can physically look at me and I'll be in Black. Like, there's certain traits that I have that do not come from being African American. They come from being African. You can physically look at me, but I'm like, I am an Aquarius, which means I'm going to go do research and study. So other than the fact that I have a census report showing an ancestors come from the continent, even if it doesn't say from where, I consulted E5 because I always consult E5. And so I asked, hey, I got a question. And so I posed a question and, talk to the ancestors and ask, hey, is this legit? Is this facts? Is it that, our ancestors, like, is this a lie? And what I got was this interesting answers. And it was like, no, that's not this. No, there are some ancestors that come from the continent, some that did not. So I even went through my own tree. I went through all my ancestors, both sides of my family, and asked about where the indigenous portion of it was. No, that's what I'm on. Where the indigenous portion was, and where is the portion that actually is supposed, actually was from here. And when I did that and was able to kind of get some of that insight, I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. This makes sense to me. Even the question about of so many people are like, we didn't choose to be here, da 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 da. Okay, and you and Shay Shay, it's like, yeah, you chose your destiny. Notice it doesn't say whether or not you chose to be here. It did chose your destiny once you got here. So I asked that question too. Did everyone choose to incarnate to be human? Why? Because I wanted to know. Because especially since I do a lot of teaching around Ori, I knew that question was going to come up. One of my a student, someone's going to ask me, did we all choose to incarnate on Earth? And the answer is no. Short and sweet answer is no. Everybody didn't choose. Some of y'all was voluntold. Some of y'all, Damari called y'all in the office like, hey, what's good? And you were like, hey, what's up? What's going on? I kind of need you to go to Earth. Who? Where? I need you to go to Earth. But why? And then Damari smiles, because that's how I imagine the conversation. Damari smiles, and it's like, how are you going to turn down the source? All right, but I'm gonna be rich when I get there. Like, whatever the case may be. But you chose whether you chose to be here or not is not the point. The destiny, what you chose once you got here, is the more important part. Whether you actually chose to do it, either way, you here. But for those wondering, that like, bruh, didn't I tell you to do X, Y, Z? 1, 2, 3. And it's like, I wonder who's at my door. Hold on. Is that mail? Yep, it's mail. I get it. Like, what are we doing here? And so it's like, how do we keep doing this to ourselves? So it's about your destiny. Living E5 in the diaspora is understanding that, yes, our parents did not get an SNTA done for us. They did not have a birth divination done for us. That did not happen. That didn't happen. And the beautiful thing about the world, about Olodumare and the world, is that there are so many ways to learn about yourself. There are so many ways to learn about who you are. Because when I could tell you is that since I know what my personal Odus are, not my Dafa, but the Odu that walks with me, that I incarnated with, it is all over my birth chart. It is all over my birth chart. If you never come to E5, at least take an opportunity to get an astrologer or someone who know enough to be dangerous to help you look at your birth chart and see what it says. You can figure out what that blueprint was incarnated in, because it's right there. It's right there. So somebody calculate your numerology. It's right there. So even if you couldn't have get an SNTA done and can't get that ceremony done in some other way because you're not meant to go that far in the journey, go look at your birth chart. It's right there. It's right there. You live out, but you're not quite ready to commit to the tradition. Go to your birth chart, and time to time, go look at your horoscope every 4 or 5 days. Go look at your transits every 4 or 5 days. Calculate your personal day number. There is a way to live that way. Like, there's a way to live it. even if you're not meant to be an active practitioner. I don't think everyone's supposed to initiate. I don't feel like everyone needs their hand of Ifa. But I do feel like the wisdom of Ifa as a tradition and a lifestyle is absolutely for everyone. I feel like the orchestration of centering Ori and doing that self-work to help you align to the best and most favorite form of your destiny, everybody needs that. And everybody needs that. Everybody needs that medicine. You want to move in alignment, you got to know who you are. You want to move in alignment, you got to know who you are. So that's why I'm going to do that workshop. I pulled this class. It was part of my mentorship program. I pulled it out. It's going to be a workshop to walk you through going through your birth chart. Not the whole thing, because I ain't going to charge enough to charge you go through the whole thing. But I'm going to help you go through your own chart so that you can go and see at least some of the highlights of your blueprint. And the intention is that when we're done, you go search out the rest of that information. You go hunt some more down. About 12:30, you can call me if you got a break. If you got a break around 12:30, you can call me. I'll be in the car going to pick up the kids. But understanding that how you like the principles, learn who you are and walk in it. How do you do that if you're not an active practitioner? Birth chart, numerology chart, check out your human design, your gene keys. If you're real nasty like me, you put all of them together and see this big picture. Then you put them all together and see this big picture. And then you walk in it. And then you walk in it. How do I know I'm walking in it? Because I have a Virgo North Node in the 3rd house, which part of my day is about communication and teaching. I have a South Node in Pisces in my 9th house, which is specifically the house of religion and priests. My part of fortune is in my 5th house, which means that I'm going to be easier to get the things that I want financially through doing what I like. I have a stellium in my 8th house, which is associated with esoteric knowledge, spirituality, and things of that nature, shadow work, among other things.Hether I knew it at the time or not, kept actively looking for ways to align to my favorite, most luscious, delectable version of my destiny. Does that mean that things don't irritate me? Of course not. Of course not. Do I get irritated? I am a priestess of Obatala. Do you know the work I got to do for myself internally when I pull up in the parking lot and everybody's parked crooked? Like, destroy all the cars. You don't need a license. I rebuke this. I rebuke all of this shenanigans. I rebuke this. When I'm driving and the people are not driving, the people are peopling on the road, and I'm like, I just want you to move so that I can get. My friends who have been on the phone with me driving can attest to that. I am an angry driver through and through. I am angry. My daddy from New York. I am an angry driver. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am an angry driver. Like, absolutely, positively, get out my way. I got someplace to go. Get out my way. I gotta be calm. Like, I be trying to be calm. See? Still, like, I love that. Drivers with high standards, I receive that. I am a driver with high standards. And it's bad because, like, my kids, like, we'll be in the drive-through and there'll be other cars there. My son be like, tell the other cars to move. And I'm like, oh, Lord, what did I do to my baby? I turned my baby into me. Living Ifa in the diaspora as a parent. When you grew up in a religion that you felt like harmed you, what do you do when Ifa says, bring your children with you? And you're like, oh. One, you got to really look at how you feel about Ifa. Because if you love it, if it is nurturing to you, what you do is you give it to them in a way so that it's nurturing to them. My children, both on the spectrum, they both have cognitive delays, both have speech delays, even though they're coming coming out of the one, a little bit more than the other one, but they still have these things. These still things are the case. And I won't lie to you and tell you that I did not sit here wondering, how can I do this when they can barely communicate with me? 3, 4, 5, 6, and a half. But if I was adamant, like, I looked and I was like, okay, let's see what we do. And what I noticed is my middle child, he was already picking it up. If I was already calling them, I'd be sitting in the room, the door could be closed. One of them kids coming. The door would be closed. One of them kids showing up out of the blue. Like, out of the blue. Then call Ashley. Here they come out the blue. Look, like, hey. Something you want to tell me, little child? The reason why every time I call Ashley, you show up? Like, I'm on more issue. I'm a priestess of issue. But my kids are not. But that little kid energy and issue, they go together, like, full flat. So they just show up. And then my son, who has the most severe of the 2 speech delays, came in singing Eshu's Oriki with me one day. And it's like, okay, Ifa, I get it. And being made Awo, being Inifa, what that does, it allowed me to be able to give that blessing to my children. Give that blessing to my children. And yes, did I cry? Of course I did. I'm a woman and I'm a Cancer rising. I cried like a baby, being able to hold ceremony for my kids. And if you ask me, has it changed anything? They're still kids. Do they still get on my nerves from time to time? Absolutely. Do they still have meltdowns? Absolutely. What it does, though, is being able to call them by their Yoruba names. Even the clinicians where they go to ABA therapy say they act different. Even the clinicians where they go and they have ABA therapy are like, no, like, for real. You said that they act different, and we kind of like, oh, okay, mommy, okay. No, like, for real, they act different. I know. That's what I said. I know they act different because I watched it. It started with my older one. Because he was not trying to have me call him by a new name. He was just, no. Yeah, you've been calling me by this other name, forever, since I was in the womb. And now you want me to answer to something else? Absolutely not. I respected that. And so I did not call him by that name. I would talk about him using that name, but I didn't call him by that name. He didn't accept his new name until he received Itefa, until he was fully initiated. After his hand to be fine, nah, he wasn't trying to hear it. He was not. After he received his Onisha, wasn't trying to hear it. But when he had received Itefa, all of a sudden, he was like, okay, don't call me that other name, and would correct people. He would absolutely correct people who tried to address him by anything other than his name, than his chosen name. And I took a chance and I reached out to where they go to ABA therapy. And I was like, look, my children have received certain ceremonies based on our religious practice. And among those things, they got a name for within the tradition. And I noticed that if I call them by that name, their behavior is different. So I would appreciate it if y'all would stop calling them by their birth names and call them this. I sent them the phonetics so that they could pronounce it correctly. And that day, when they came out to the car, they addressed them by their name. And when I picked them up that afternoon, they were like, yo, no, for real. Like, there's something to this because they absolutely do behave differently. I know. I don't know why I know. And I don't know why it works. All I know is they behave differently. And one day I got this thought, there's like The birth name is the one that has the autism diagnosis, not their Yoruba name. And so are they all of a sudden not autistic? Absolutely not. They're both still autistic. But the movement in how their therapy is unfolding, I can see there's measurable improvement. It's measurable. So it's not just improvement, it is absolutely measurable because they measure things when they're in therapy. So it's measurable. Being able to, like, it's funny because people who are my lives from time to time, they'll see it. Like they'll come in, they want to split the OB. My sons have watched me do divination enough to know that based on how many ikeen in my hand, what is supposed to be marked on their bone. They know. So I'm like, little by little, you could tell my children are children of Shango because if they don't know who any other Orisha is, they know who Shango is. They may not remember, not anyone else. They know who Shango is. They know who Oya is. On every day. Every day is Shango's day. Let my son tell it. Every day is Shango's day if you ask my son. Because every day, that's who he want to hear. Now, in the car, he want to listen to Oshun and Oya. If we're in the car, it's Oshun and Oya every day. In the house, all he want to talk about is Shango. Shango, the lightning. They know. They know. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And being able to have them do that with me. Am I creative? Absolutely. Because are they going to sit still the whole time? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's why we be in the car. We be having church in the car. We have a Orisha church in the car. Y'all, let's go ride. Like, look. We have a shrine for the house, but one of them now needs their own individual one. And I'm just like, I guess I get it. But it was one of those things, like one of the first things my godmother said to me after I was, made Yanifa was like, you're going to initiate both of your children to Shango. And it was the verbiage. She didn't just say my children were going to initiate Shango. She said, you are going to initiate both of your children to Shango. And I'm like, okay. And, I thought it was a slip. And then, lo and behold, I initiated both of my children Shango. And being able to help guide them through, we do affirmations. If I say our Ori is what, they will immediately say a good Ori. If I'm closing things out and I'm like, Modupo issue, and my son comes in, I just let him finish it. Like I got at least one godchild in here that's heard him, or a couple folks probably has heard him do it. He'll just do it. He'll close it out. He can sing Ela by heart without ever seeing the words on paper, just from listening to me do it. And I know there's some owls that don't know the Ela Oriki by heart. And hear my son go, he can sing it by heart without ever even seeing it to learn it. And I'm just like, this is, yeah. And I'm like, this lifestyle, I didn't figure out how to fit it in because it really is too much to say, I'm going to fit this in here. No, it's just, this is how I'm going to live. I want two things. One, your elder is not to save your life, nor are they meant to be your boss. They're not meant to save your life, and they're not meant to be your boss. I know that for us, especially Gen X, but people in general, but especially heavy on the Gen X, if you were a latchkey kid and you felt like, you didn't have, you had your parents, but sometimes maybe you didn't have that parental advisory that you really wanted. And then you start to get that energy of it from your elder, you want them to save you. And that's not our job. I was listening to this woman. She told this story about this man who was a healer. And in the story, there's a village a ways away. and there's a disease ravaging the village, and so he gets all this thing, gets ready to go. He's mindful of how he's traveling so he can get there on time. Nothing happens, and along the way he meets another man, and this man is standing there holding a rope. Ashe, and the man's holding the rope. He asked the healer, he's like, "Hey, can you hold this rope for me?" He asks probing questions and just says, "Okay," because he's a helper. He's a servant. And the man holds down the rope. And so now this healer is holding this man, has gone down the side of this cliff. And now he's kind of just hanging there, not doing anything. He's just hanging. And so the healer, he's like holding it, is like, "Yo, you should climb up. You should climb back up, or you're going to fall." He said, No. Hold the rope. Hold it. Just tie it to your waist. So again, not asking any questions, he ties it to his waist. And the guy continues to like hang there and swing, and he's trying to hold on for dear life so this dude don't fall. And he's like trying to get this man to climb back up, either climb up or climb down, but do something. And the guy is just hanging there. No. Like just hold on. Don't let me fall. Just hold on to it. Don't let me fall. And so he's just hanging there. He's just hanging there. And so hours go by, and he needs to go to this village. And he's like, "Yo, I gotta go. Can you please climb up?" So he's trying to pull this man up. The man won't climb, so he's trying to pull him. He's trying to pull him back up to the top. And no help, the guy's just hanging. And he's like, "Don't let me fall. If you let me fall, I'm gonna die. It's gonna be blood on your hands," and da. Eventually the healer's like, "I can't stay here any longer. There are people waiting for me to get to them. I can't stay here with you. Won't you just help me help you up? Won't you just help me help you up?" The man's like, No. But if you let me fall, my blood's going to be in your hands. You're going to let me die. Don't let me die. I don't want to die. I don't want to drown. So he sits there. The healer's like, "I don't know what to do." And he's like, "This one life or the lives of all those people in his village?" And he's praying, and he's like, "I can't let him hold me back. Like, this is going to have to be, I'm going to have to let him go." And so he looks over there to like, this is your last chance. He's taking the rope from around his waist now. He's no longer holding the rope around his waist. It's just in his hands. And he's like, "Will you help me help you up? Can you just climb back up?" No. If you let it go, I'm going to die. He's like, "I'm sorry." And he lets the rope go. And he hears the rope fall. Then he hears a scream and a splash. And in his mind, he said, "My hope is that he remembers that he knows how to swim and that he swims himself ashore. He swims to where he needs to be." I heard that this morning, and I was like, "Shh, it's loud and aggressive. It's loud and aggressive." Because I had just said to Babe, I was like, I'm frustrated because sometimes I can see the solution. I see it. I see what the problem is. Even without reading to people, sometimes just listening to it, I'm like, I could see where they're in their own way. I could see that they are the architect of their own demise. I could see where they're allowing themselves to not move beyond the pain that they're in. And I don't know what to do because I can't help them. And I'm a Cancer rising with an Aquarius stellium. All we want to do is help. It's all we want to do. All we want to do is help. And I can't. It used to frustrate me so badly because in my town, I would see people, I'm watching, folks, Facebook posts and all these good things, and they're in pain, whether it's grieving for a loved one or whatever. The pain is there. And I'm just like, okay, I know that the medicine Ifa gave me ancestor veneration, and ancestor veneration is the reason why next month, I will miss my son. I will grieve and wish that, sometimes he's here. I would have three children running around my house playing, but it's only going to be the two. He's my son. But I will not be laid up in my bed, unable to function on his birthday. I will not be laid up in my bed to function on what should be his birthday. I will celebrate the time I carried him in my womb and the fact that he was an active working ancestor before an angel, a guide, well before he entered my womb, and continues to operate as one now that he's out. Ashe, now that he's out. He gave that to me, ancestor veneration. That would not be the case if I was not venerating my ancestors and I didn't have a relationship with my ancestors where I understood that though he is in physical form, my baby is always around. On a good day, folks will see him. Kind of just depends on the mood he's in. Somebody will notice, hey, they'll either see him as his angel form because he is who he is. So they'll either Archangel Gabriel hanging out around me, or they'll see a little kid, or whichever age he chooses to be, because he's not always a kid when he shows up. So on a good day, somebody might, catch a glimpse of him. He's always around. I have to periodically, sometimes say, hey, can you stop playing with your brothers? I need them to go to bed. Sir? I need your brothers to go to bed. I need them to call it at night. Your mama want to go to sleep. Let your siblings go to bed. And so I see the other ones and they're still angry and they're still hurt and they're still locked in the cycle. And it's like, that a white candle and some things might help. And they don't understand. The more they teach, if they've been doing this whole time, chances are that they haven't let the ancestor transition to the ancestral realm, and that their ancestor is sitting here locked in an earthbound state because they won't let them go. And I'm just like, all I want to do is help ease the pain. That's it. That's all I want to do is help. I can see where somewhere it's like you've got all the tools and you don't know how to use them. If you just, I could help you learn how to use the tools so that you can bring about lasting change in your life. All I want to do is help. I see them, then they come, they might want to have a conversation about the same thing over again that they've had a problem with, but they won't make the change that they need to make. They feel like this couldn't change anything. I got a taboo of wearing black. Hurt my whole heart because black is my favorite color. I got a taboo. I'm not allowed to wear black. I can wear stuff with black in it. For me, it's not just simply uninterrupted black. I am not aware to wear black up against my skin. Can't wear black. Like my skin is the darkest thing on me right now. So, like, how did that make a change? If you look at pictures of me before and now, I actually look different. It's noticeable enough to where I notice it. Like there's less weight on me. Not physical weight, but mental, emotional weight on me. Why? Because as much as black is protective and it is an abundance of feminine energy. So one, if you wear a whole lot of black, that's a whole lot of feminine energy. And you may not be operating in your masculine like you need to because you have an overabundance of feminine energy around you, keeping you off balance. It is also absorptive. It is drawing in, which means you are drawing in a million different things. That's why, like, when I see people with black on their head, I'm just like, okay, whatever works for you. Because I could like all that in my ori. Oh no. No. I could not. And it's like, would that make a difference? Yes, me ceasing to wear black made a difference, not only in how I look, my energy, but I can't hide. Black is one of those colors, everybody wears black. It's like, that is a common color to see people in. So it's easy to look past someone when they're wearing black. It's easy. It's not this like unusual, you don't see this often kind of deal. Not as much as you see the little black girl with the locks walking down the road after Labor Day wearing the white dress and white sneakers. Her you might notice. You might see her. Do I wear white every day? Nope. But I will say 9 times out of 10, whether you see it or not, there is something white up against my skin. There's something white up against my skin. That made a change. We got a taboo of eggs right before Thanksgiving. All my black people that eat, all my people, because other people that eat deviled eggs on the holidays, drop a little egg in the comment section. Because, I saw that taboo, and the first thing I thought about was like, hold on, let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation, Ifa, about this egg taboo that we got for the next 16 days. Can we get a whole pass for Thanksgiving? Can we get that? Can we get that? You guys can get a vote for Thanksgiving. Okay. Say word, say less. Say less. Look, that is doable. We can do that. I'm like, we can do that. But guess what? I get there to the celebration with the family. I'm like, I got a pass to eat an egg today. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I get there, you know what they didn't make? You know what they did not have? Though my mouth was fixed and ready, no deviled eggs. I looked around at all the black people in my family and said, what is this? Where are my deviled eggs? What is happening? What is this? How could you? Where's my deviled eggs? Now, granted, they didn't have my hot sauce or anything either. I was really vexed. What I will say is that not long prior to, I had a conversation with my body, specifically my womb, because I have really challenging menstrual cycles. I have a really challenging menstrual cycle, and I was trying to figure out what I can do to remedy it. And my god sibling said, have you checked on your diet to see if there's food that you're eating that is causing you to have a painful menstrual cycle? I have not. I will. Exactly. So I'm going through and I'm dividing with my womb, because when you live Ifa and you learn how to divine, you can ask questions, anything. And so I asked my womb about food. And one of the foods that my womb told me I needed to manage how I eat it, because I like eggs. I like eggs a lot. But it was like, I can't eat them at a certain time. I have to, ease up off them. So I'm like, okay, a bit. So I got this 16 days any eggs. My mommy did make deviled eggs. So when I came back home to bring the kids to their dad, my mommy did have deviled eggs for me. But that was pretty much it. In that 16-day window, that's it. My cycle showed up. First off, it snuck up, which is not, I have one of my 45, so 36 years. In 36 years, I have never been surprised that I was getting ready to have a cycle. It's something, cramps, nausea, something always precipitated it. So I always knew one was coming. So I'm sitting here and I'm just like, okay, nothing's happening. I'm just like, do. And cycle's on. And I'm just like, I ain't got no cramps, no nausea. I'm not really all that bloated. Nothing. I'm okay. I had one day for 3 hours where I had cramps. There's at least one person here that can vouch that I'm normally down for the count for at least 2 whole days. like in pain, fetal position. There is no pain medicine that's going to stop it so enough to where, hey, Maddie, I don't have any pain. I got the pain is painting. The pain is painting. Nothing. Nothing. And the only thing differently is that I wasn't eating eggs. That's the only difference. The difference was I did not eat any eggs leading up to my cycle during that window of time. So my spiritual practice is definitely practical in its manifestation. I now had tangible, measurable evidence that the eggs were messing with me during my menstrual cycle. Yes, the ovulation window for like follicular dilation as well. So I have to like ease back on during certain times of my cycle so that I don't end up in a space where, you know, I have a painful, and it's like, boom, hey, here, stop, don't eat them. If you have had a horrible cycle for 36 years, and this is the easiest cycle I have ever had in my life. I'm like, yo, this taboo was for me. I don't know if anybody else had anything that happened, but I can tell you most specifically, like that taboo was for me. It was absolutely for me. That taboo was for me. I needed to see that. I needed to see that. So now today was my last day. So I'm off the eggs and chicken. I'm sitting here now trying to figure out how many times I eat burgers, fish, tacos, and things over the next couple of weeks. I can still have turkey, so I can eat turkey. Turkey is not as detrimental as chicken is, so I can still eat turkey. So I can make some turkey wings, but like, yeah, I can't have it, and all because from and this was a temporary taboo. It wasn't this was a temporary taboo, but it brought a measurable change for me personally during this window of time. The black. This is a lifetime taboo. I ain't never gonna be able to wear black again. Red might be negotiable. Red might end up being negotiable, but the black is. I am a child of Obatala as well. Oh no, no. I'm just gonna go ahead and accept the fact that a pretty black dress, a basic black dress, just ain't in the cards for me. It's just not. It's just not gonna be something I'm be allowed to wear. So being able to, in the diaspora, know your taboos, learn your taboos. We talked about the fasting taboo for me earlier. The fasting taboo is in my human design chart. I was telling y'all to like use your charts if you can't consult E5 and you don't have somebody that you can get an E5 divination from. The fasting taboo is in my human design. One of the arrows in my human design chart indicate fasting is bad for me. It's in my human design chart. Like I said, if you can't get it one way, you can still get it. If you can't get it one way, this came out pretty. This came out so pretty. You can still get it. Still go, like, still get the insight, still get the clarity. Your elders, if you're looking for an elder within the tradition, and you're like, how do I choose one? You vet your elder the same way you vet a mentor in corporate America or any other situation. You vet them. You have a conversation with them. Do you even like them as a person? Like, real talk, do you like them? If you don't like them, you're not gonna learn from them. That's just it. You're not. Think about the teachers that you did not like. The teachers that you did not like, you didn't learn a lot from them. But those teachers that you loved, like you go as an adult, if they're still teaching, you go back to visit them. Them the ones. Why? Because you liked them as a person. You liked them, even if they got on your nerves. You liked them as a person. You liked them as a person. And because you were able to learn and cultivate, there was an environment, the ground was fertile for them to plant seeds of your growth, learning, and development in. So you vet them. Do you like them? My godmother, I like her. I thought she was hilarious. She had certain parts of her life story that when she talked about it, I resonated with because it was things that I had gone through and like grown up with. Did I mention she was hilarious? I think my godmother's funny as heck. She is hilarious. If you can make me laugh, you like, look, you in there. She's intelligent. She was proficient. Yes, she was Awo, but she grew up in Palo, and she's Puerto Rican. She had a connection to Lukumi as well. She's also Black. She's Black and Puerto Rican, so she had a connection to Lukumi and Hoodoo. So she was well-rounded spiritually. I liked her. I liked the way she taught. I could learn from her listening to her radio show. I learned several Odu well listening to her on her radio show. So that by the time I got ready to divine for myself and an Odu would drop, I'll be like, I remember what Owl said about this one. Can you learn from them? And maybe you don't want to come to them for learning. Like, I don't know why else you would, but maybe it's that you want to have someone that can help you just be connected to the tradition. So they have the wisdom, you take that wisdom, and then you're able to like turn it into something else. And you're like, you don't only have to be able to just give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they'll be fine. You just kind of have to know what you want in your elder. What do you want that to look like? Because not all Awo are good teachers. That just is what it is. Some people are called to. Some people can lead and they can't teach. Some people can lead you, but they still can't teach you. They can tell you what to do, but they cannot teach you. They can't teach you. And that's okay. That is okay. Alafia, that's okay. Not everybody's going to be able to teach you. And some people can teach other people, they can't teach you. Every teacher is not made for every student, and every student is not meant for every teacher. So you have to vet them. You have to vet them. You have to vet them to see if they are, in fact, the right teacher for you, and if you are the right teacher for them. It's not that folks don't want to help you, but all things, all the stars lining up in a way that's going to bring good fortune to both sides of the equation. It's good fortune coming to both sides. This is about to be funky. Both sides of the equation. And understanding that they may only be able to take you so far on your journey. They may not be meant to take you all the way to the promised land, if you will. They may only be able to take you but so far in your journey. And that too is okay. That's okay. But you gotta vet them. Gotta vet them. Are they going, like, do you need someone that's gonna have time to be able to like work with you individually? You got to see if they got the time. What do you want in your elder? What do you want it to look like? Do you want someone that's going to teach you like everybody else, or do you need some customized teaching for you because of your learning style? You got to vet your elder. You got to vet them. And understanding that is okay. My godmother knew I was going to be Iya Owinni. She already knew it. It came up the first time she divined for me that I was going to be Iya Owinni. So you know what she did? She trained me like one. Even before I got to the mat. She trained me. Yes, sometimes we outgrow our teachers. She trained me like she had what she was going to teach. But when I say she taught it to me like she was teaching it in Awo, that's what she did. I remember the morning prayer of our lineage. And the reason I know that prayer so well is because for homework, she says, You need to be able to say this to me by heart in Yoruba. Mind you, that remind y'all again, I came to this at 40. You know how hard it is to learn a foreign language at 40 years old? I'm like, And I remember sitting in front of my ancestor altar and telling them, hey, don't talk about my broken Yoruba. Don't talk about my broken Yoruba. You know I grew up in the South. Don't talk about my broken Yoruba. And I could just feel them like snickering and giggling and laughing. You grew up in the diaspora. That's the other piece. When you're living Ifa, you are not going to sound like you grew up in Yoruba land. Stop setting that expectation for yourself because it's not logical. You didn't grow up there. You didn't grow up in Yoruba land. So it's not logical for you to set an expectation for yourself to sound like a Yoruba man. You're not going to. You're not going to. You're going to sound like you. Period. Point blank, period. You're going to sound like you. So allow yourself to sound like you. This evening, we're going to sound like us. We all going to be singing broken Yoruba together. But you know what? I bet you they hear me call. And I remember telling her I felt like I had it. And she didn't give it to me as a rhythm because I had never heard her do it. So I didn't have a rhythm, a cadence, or anything to go off of. So if you hear me do my morning Eva, that short one that I do, that cadence didn't come from her. That rhythm didn't come from her. That cadence didn't come from her. That was just the way I learned it for myself. It's just the way that I processed it for myself. I heard one of my almost doing it and it sounded like a gospel song. I didn't grow up with gospel music, so my stuff doesn't have a gospel feeling to it. But she did. And so when she does Oriki, it sounds like gospel music. It sounds like gospel music. I have one and she is from Alabama. And when I say her Oriki is the sweetest, cutest thing ever. And it has this little Alabama twang to it. And it is just absolutely, I love it. It is so pretty. And even with the Alabama, like it doesn't take anything away from it. It takes nothing away from it. And they still come. So that's the other thing. Living Ifa in the diaspora, like, you know, Black man, Black woman in the African American diaspora, let it come out of you the way it needs to come out. No, the SU one is similar to hers, but my morning Iba, the Opie ni Funoloru, that one, I never heard her do it. So the cadence is completely mine. She never did it for me. She read the words to me, and that was one time, and then she said, just do it. She said, don't get hung up, just do it. If you stumble, keep going and go back and do it again. Just do it. That was her advice. Just do it. She hit me with the Nike. Just do it. And so that's what I did. I literally just did it. Ayla is the same thing. Ayla is similar. I've heard her invoke Ayla. It's similar, but definitely not the same. Oya, oh, that's Ella Andal all day. My Oya is absolutely Ella Andal. Like, I'm not even gonna tell that lie because it's part of the song. One of those songs she does is the Oriki that I do. And so when I saw the Oriki in the first time, I was like, that's the Ella Andal song. When I sing the song, and thus I sing the Oriki in the same cadence. But a lot of them, like, no, they just, like, no. Like, Shango is definitely me. I've never heard anybody else do that, Oriki de Shango. So that one is definitely mine. Like, that is my cadence. It's just mine. It's just mine. And I'm not always singing. Sometimes I'm chanting. Sometimes I'm singing. Sometimes I'm chanting. Kind of just depends on who it is and what it's for. So being able to have that, but that's what she gave. She's like, she made me trust myself. She made me trust myself. And I remember, like, the first time she's like, you need to do a cleanse for your Ori. I was like, okay. And she said, I'm just going to tell you how to do it because you're going to have to know how to do it for other people anyway. I, it's just like everything. I remember when I had to go through the first 16 Meggies with her and call them out. And I'm just like, and she's like, but you know them. Are you sure I know them? Are you sure? I'm not even sure I know them. How are you sure that I know them? She's like, you do. You know them. Okay. And so I did them. And it was like, oh, you can inbox me, Tiara. We can talk about it. Especially since like inbox me, but I am thinking about doing a big one for New Year's. Because it came up from my folks in our divination. But yeah, just inbox me. We could definitely talk about it. So she was always pushing me to learn. And I paid. Thank you for the gift. Thank you for the glitter patches. Always pushing me towards being an Indian, like just pushed me towards it. And made sure, like a lot of times, other things living Ifa, especially if you have an elder, there'll be things that they'll teach you directly, and there'll be things that you learn directly from Ifa. Let's just be real. Like Ifa's gonna have you do something, you're like, wait, what? What do you mean? And I remember my godmother's like, well, ask Ifa what you need to do. Okay then. She's like, if I gave it to you, so ask Ifa. And I'm like, okay. Being able to have the support of someone who sees you even more than you see yourself. She saw me even more than I ever saw. Even when she told me I was going to be a priest, and here's the irony. She told me I was going to be a priest. I just told y'all my birth chart screams I'm going to be a priest. I'm on life path 11, screams being a priest. Oh, and my birthday card is the high priestess. Thank you for subscribing. And my birthday card is high priestess. Like, how many different ways can the universe, thank you, how many different ways can the universe say to me, you supposed to be a priest, lady? Like, how many different ways? How many different ways can the universe actually, tell me this is what I'm supposed to be doing? How many different ways? So being able to have that from her, like, push it forward. Between the first divination telling me, like, you're divining over yourself. You are literally channeling spirit right now. I need you to watch yourself do this. You are skilled, proficient. Like, you're proficient. So do it. Like, do what you do. Do what you do. Anytime I would get something in divination and I would come and circle back to her, and she would be like, I don't know why you're getting me to check this because you already know. But then she'd check and be like, yeah, this is what this is. And I'm just like, okay. If you need that, you need to talk. You need to, like, make sure you are highlighting that's what you need from your elder. But you know what she wasn't? She didn't give me a spiritual practice. She gave me bones. She gave me a spiritual practice. She gave me bones. Same thing as Kai. She gave me bones. And I had to cultivate what that spiritual practice looks like and understanding that is a living and breathing thing. The way I observed in veneration 2-3 years ago and the way I do it now looks completely different. It was different. Hell, I have gone through 3 different rooms in my house being the shrine room. I mean, there have been 3 different rooms in my house being the shrine room. Now it's like everybody's in my living room or my dining room. Everybody's in the front of the house. You walk up to my porch, there's Eshu right at the door. Greetings and salutations. It behooves you to leave a little something when you come visit me. Shango is when you first walk in. Sean goes like, hey, I want you want to be in the living room? No, I want to be at the door. Oh, okay. All righty then. All right, I got you. So he at the door. He is at the door. My shrine rooms have moved. My spiritual practice has grown to be something new, something different. And next year, it might look even more different. I'm okay with that. Because what she gave me was bones and the courage to ask Ifa. She gave me bones and she gave me the courage to consult Ifa. You have a question, you ask Ifa. You have a question, go to your Ori. The wisdom is right there at your fingertips, and you have the tools to garner that wisdom. You have the tools and the spiritual gift to cultivate that wisdom. You have the tools and you have the spiritual gift to cultivate that wisdom. So cultivate it. Bring it to yourself. Bring it to your awareness in the way that you need to, so that you are able to bring about change, meaningful change in your life. She told me to use my Ofo Ashe, use the power of my words. And even though truth, like full transparency, I don't do it often as often as I should. Because I'm the oldest child, I got oldest child syndrome. I don't want to be a burden. And for some reason or another, like many of us, we stretch that feeling of being a burden all the way to the spiritual court. I'm not asking for the universe to give me Venus. I'm not like, hey, yo, Venus would be really dope. That's the blessing I want. Well, give me Venus. And the truth is, even if that's what I asked for, if it was alignment, you think they couldn't give it to me? Like, real talk, what can't the Most High do? When we stop limiting them, because that's what we do, we limit them. Well, that's such a big thing. A big thing to who? You asking for a thimble full of water from the ocean. Who's that a big thing to? What is this big thing that you think that you're trying to conjure up that your spiritual court can't help you to acquire? So I sit there and I'm like, okay, I'm not doing too much. I'm not doing too much. Just ask. Just ask. What do you want? One or two things gonna happen. Yes or no. That's it. Yes or no. Yeah, you got it. That's yours. Or you asking for something that don't even belong to you. You asking for something that don't even belong to you. You saw somebody else with that toy. You think that toy is yours. I got a better toy for you. I got a more aligned thing for you to have. And that's okay. Ifa wants to see us. Olodumare wants to see us. Our Ori wants to see us. Our Orishas want to see us. And for some of y'all, your Loa want to see, your Egu want to see. Like, they all want to see us well, happy, with peace of mind. And we have to know what that looks like for us and call it and figure out what's the energy exchange. Is it a change of behavior? Is it so food? Like, you just want a plate? What is it? What's the thing? What's the energy exchange as a gratitude for you helping me to bring this change into my life? What's the prescription? Is it just some vitamins? Like, what is it? What do I need to do? That's the other part. Living Ifa is understanding reciprocity and gratitude. Living Ifa is reciprocity and gratitude. I don't feel no way about having to give Ebo. And I feel like part of that is me growing up as an Israelite. I feel like part of the reason I don't feel no ways about giving Ebo is because I grew up as an Israelite. I grew up in a religion that is Old Testament. You give offerings to God as thank you for your blessings. That's what I grew up with. So even though it was not necessarily inherently something that was happening in my house all the time like this, we're giving offerings every day. The high holy days, this is our offering. That was always a word. Passover, the Passover Seder, that is our offering as gratitude and thank you. That's our offering. Yom Kippur, the fasting, that's our offering. So the idea of giving as a thank you for receiving, I grew up with that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I grew up with that. So that was not a hard thing for me to accept. But a lot of people, coming now and it's like, we're gonna manifest and we're just gonna talk about it, and maybe you feel like you talking about it 55 times, 5 days, for 5 days is your offering. Okay. But sometimes what you really need is to say it once and give some cola nut. Maybe sometimes what you need is to say it one time and give some cola nut. And that's your offering. And that's your offering. So living in the tradition is also knowing that just because I see a video of this amazing altar with 15,000 different offerings and 25 different fruits and several different icons doesn't mean that my little table with a one cola nut is ineffective. That's cool. They got that. But when I wanted to make sure that storm didn't come through and wreak havoc on me and my house and my children, I gave an irrevocable one to that divinity and one to the man that made the way, except carried the offering for me. That's it. That's all I gave. Irrevocable. I had some candles. The other one wanted some fire, wanted some candles. Keep my house lit up. Okay, cool. That's it. That's all I gave. That's it. I didn't do nothing else. That's what I gave. Being able to recognize that our divine court knows what we got in the house. They see us. They know what's in our. I need you to give. I ain't got that. What else can I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like what else can we do here? Because I ain't got that, homie. I ain't got that. The other part is you are in the diaspora. The expectation is not for you to be able to conjure things that don't exist where we are. What we need to bring about our wellness is here. What we need to bring about change and wellness in our life is here, where we are, where we live. It's here. We have access to it. It's going to be something you have access to. It's going to be something you have access to. It's going to be something that your elder has access to. And a good elder in the diaspora will help you know and learn what you have access to here in the diaspora to make those changes in your life. And if that was not so, none of the diaspora traditions would exist. If we were not able to use what we have right here on the land in which we live in order to make meaningful change, we would not have any denominations of Orisha tradition based in the diaspora, because they didn't bring the herbs, plants, animals, life, produce, and all those things from the continent here. They're not all here. So how were they able to bring about their good condition if they weren't able to use what's here? You having an elder can help you learn what's here that aligns in the same energy and vibration, has a similar destiny in its use, that you can utilize to make those meaningful changes here. It can make them here. So I'm going to do, this is a live, everybody's not on my live, so I'm going to do a couple of videos, like a little series, like living in the diaspora looks like, and living Ifa in the diaspora as a Black woman, in a Black African American woman. This is what this looks like. This is what this looks like. Because I feel like for those who are like, I don't know, like I'm going to come to Ifa and I'm never going to be able to use my tarot cards. For real? Hold on. See, my YouTube and Facebook folks can actually see that behind me on my bookshelf is like boxes. There they go. Books and tarot cards. Books and tarot cards. I got a problem. I have a problem. Do I pull cards every day? No, but I don't cast my E5 every day either. I still pull cards from time to time so that I don't get rusty, and I like them. I enjoy my tarot cards. I like them. I enjoy them. Yay, I finished. Yay. I enjoy my tarot cards. They mean like they started me on my journey. I don't offer it as a regular service anymore because it is not the thing that's supposed to be bringing me my prosperity and abundance through the work that I do. But every once in a while, because truth be told, like keeping it all the way 100, non-African descended people who want to get readings from me don't always want an E5 reading. So I always will have something every once in a while when I need to open it up to the broader collective, like, hey, I'm going to do a tarot special. And then even sometimes people who practice E5, like, I ain't got a tarot reading in ages. Let me get one of them tarot readings. Nostalgia. I got you. My G. Let's go. Because I'm nasty with them cards too. What do you mean? The cards are going to card. The cards are going to card. Spirit is going to speak regardless. So, those of you who feel like you will change. Will you become a different person? No and yes. I feel like I am more myself. So I don't feel like a different person because I initiated. I feel like I'm more of who I'm supposed to be because I. Yes. Like I don't feel different, Like I decided, like, yes, I am an Ianifa, and yes, I also decided to see, what Glorilla albums sound like. And you know what? Most of it is no skip. And I'm real particular about my hip hop. Like I'm real particular. And most of it's no skip. Like no lie. Like I could listen to almost her whole album without one skip. Make me less of an ear? Nope. It sure doesn't. Do I sometimes drive listen to Lemonade because it helps me to channel a little bit? Yep. That's the thing that happens. I always Gucci Man Lemonade. I don't know what it is about lemonade. In fact, it makes me think about yellow. I don't know. All I know is from time to time, if I want to sit and channel, but I want to do it with music, sometimes it's Gucci Man Lemonade. Yes, I watch anime, including Beastars. Don't judge me. I'm not into the animal thing. It's got a good storyline. The other stuff is just extra. Yes, I be watching Beastars. Yes. Does my FYP include random DOMs that say, hey, pretty girl? Yes. An occasional growling video? Absolutely. All these things, none of these things went away. None of these things. I am still a goofball. I'm still all those things. I'm just more of who I am. I'm just more of it. I am just more of who I am because I initiated. I'm just more of it. Do things happen and I'm feel like I'm struggling and I just want help? Absolutely. Because I'm Black. Before anything else, I'm Black. If I have the right t-shirt and pants on, you may or may not see the girls. So the first thing I am before you notice anything else is I'm Black. That's the first thing you notice before you notice anything else is I am Black. And as such, things that are important to Black people in the diaspora, specifically here in America, yes. Food, I get it. Food insecurity, but you know what? My Ori told me to apply for them things because I was now a single mommy and my income wasn't what it was. Especially after I get laid off, could you please apply for some assistance? And so I did. And so shall I receive? Those things are a thing. Those things. Do I like look at the end of the month? Like, ooh, it's the end of the month. Let's see what this money in the bank look like. What do we looking like? Do we have to have those conversations? Yes, because I still got bills to pay. But you know what helps me when I feel like I'm struggling? My ori, my echo, this practice is what supports me when I am struggling. It's what calls in random acts of kindness when I'm struggling. It's what tells me to be still and let spirit move when I'm struggling. Do not feel like this practice is not for you just because you didn't come to it. You can come to the continent or anything. If that was the case, none of the diaspora traditions would exist. None of them would exist. We all trying to have a good life. So let's have it. Well, thank y'all for keeping me company. Like I really went live because I wanted company while I work. Y'all want to see what I made for my kids' teachers? It's the holidays and they have been a lot of, not teachers, but they're clinicians. So I still got to do these two, but I won't see them for a minute. So I got some time to work on these. But the ones that they're seeing now, so this one's for Deja. And I don't know why Deja was giving me Oya. So this is this is Deja's. Kaylee, for some reason, I feel like she's a workaholic and she needs a vacation. This made me feel like the beach. So that's hers. And then Brittany is the resident Wiccan. So that's hers. That's the resident Wiccan in health. So like y'all can see. So this is the one for Deja. And this is the one for Kaylee. And this is the one for Brittany. So Bethany, I don't know why I feel like I am. I don't know why Bethany made me think about self-love. And I don't know why I felt like she needed that. So I gave her this nice little soft pink. And like her ankle bracelet is double stranded. And I thought that was like, I don't know why I felt like this. So she gets the pretty in pink. So Kayla, hers, all I could think of was like fiery passion. She's so small. And so I felt like she needed something fiery. So this I thought I was going to do something like Oshun energy, but no. She needed a little fire. And then this is for Kale. Kale is the one, not only does he call the boys by their Yoruba names, but he says Ikaro when he comes to my car and says Adabo when he walks away. So I had to give him, he needed, how that black he be wearing, he needed some cool Obatala energy. He needed that. So I'm going to cleanse these. I'm going to cleanse them and box them up. And I might have some bows. I hope I got a couple of bows. But I'm going to cleanse them, box them up. If I got some bows, I'll put some bows on the boxes. If not, I'll make some little labels. And use my ink pen possibly to label them up. Depends on time. Me and my ink pen, we be taking a little while to get our lettering together. But I'm really happy with how these came out. So like if the question ever comes, is Orisha and pieces the only things that I do? Like, does it have to be one? No. If you ask me nicely and you just want me to make something, but it doesn't, like, not necessarily specifically, yeah, do that. I could do it. There's still going to be an intention associated with, because like I can't not have any intention on it. And they're all going to get cleansed and they all get protection prayers over them. But I'm happy with these. These turned out nice. Yay. Anybody got any questions for me? I rambled on for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, apparently. I was working. I just, the house is empty and I want someone to talk to while I work. So this doesn't seem like I'm talking to myself. This is like a light. And yes, using the light to body double, absolutely. I'm real good. Like, I'm like, I need someone to talk to. I'm going to retwist my hair. And I don't have no mirror that I can sit in front of. So I'll go live or sit in my Zoom so I can use it as a mirror. But y'all have any questions for me before I scoot and go cleanse these and get ready to ease on down the road? Yes, using my tools and resources. Plus, I move faster than when I'm talking on the phone. It's weird. I know that's a weird thing, but I moved a lot faster doing this because I was like, am I gonna get done? Yeah. I looked around and said, oh, snap, I'm almost done. Shoot. Hey. Well, then, soon as if you're at your domicile, can I call you as soon as I get off? Can I call you as soon as I get off here? Okay, cool. I'll call you as soon as I get off. Anybody else? Anybody else got some questions for cushions? I know I'm going to get an inbox about cleansing. Let me let's see. My calendar is open for divination. The divination links in my bio are still the sale price. I have not removed them. So if you want to take advantage, you are welcome to take advantage of those. Those of you who have hand to B5, you have at minimum, like at bare minimum, you've got your hand to B5, which means you're at least learning Odu, things of that nature. I am doing EFI study group starting in January. So starting on the 4th, we're going to do EFI study group every 2 weeks and dig into the Odu. And my intention is for us to go through all 206. So you can either sign up and just pay per session. The sessions are only $32, or you can do like a month and save a few dollars. Is it 32 or 35? I think it's 35. It's $35 a session or $60 a month. So you save like $10. You can save $10 that way. But my intention for that is, again, us here in the diaspora did not grow up at the being knee high to a grape and chanting Odu verses. So, but we all probably know at least one or two that we've either received a divination, there are personal Odu, we know one or two full times, and us being able to come together, share what we know, talk about just, sometimes you can know the story, but you don't know how to apply it to the question being asked. So an example would be, I did a health divination for my god sibling. And one of the blessings that came forward in the Odu was about business. And so I did, so I asked Ifa, I was like, is work the thing that's stressing her out, the reason why she's having the health issues? And I got the confirmation. That's how you use, like, it can't just be, oh, you're going to get a blessing about work. She didn't ask about that. She asked about her health. So why is her knowing she's getting a work blessing relevant to the question that she asked? It's relevant because work is the thing stressing her out, and the stress from her work is what's causing her to have the illness in her body. So we're going to do that. We're just going to start from Ethiope, and we're going to work our way through the Odu. It's going through sharing what we know about the Odu, all those different things. And then also, okay, at the end of it, we're going to be like, okay, I'm going to ask a question. This is a question. A client comes in and asks this question, or you could ask Ifa this question, and this is the Odu you got. Why did you get this Odu? How do you now interpret what you now know about this Odu to answer the question? Because the point of going for divination is when you have a question, is to get an answer. If you leave with questions, your divination is not done. You should not leave any reading. I don't care if it's tarot or anything else. You shouldn't leave it with questions. You shouldn't leave it with questions. You should leave it with answers. The only time you should leave it with questions is that it's a question that you're not allowed to receive the answer for right then. That's that one. But if the question comes up, divination comes up, and it brings up children, okay, how does this apply to you? Are you supposed to be having biological children, adopting children? Are the children actually new ideas, projects, and things that you're supposed to? You should leave knowing which way the message of children is manifesting for you personally. So that's what we're going to do together. One by one, every 2 weeks, we'll pick a different one and do the same process all over again for each one until we go through all 256. And by the time 256 out of the group, maybe have another group jumping in to go back from the beginning. Or maybe we've learned new stories, and like learning the Odu is, there's thousands of verses. We're just not going to stop learning. That's just going to be a constant thing. So yeah. Tiara, when you say beginner lessons, beginner what lessons? And then that'll be the last question. Then I'm going to go so that I can clean these things, get on stuff. So what beginner letters listen specifically in what regard? Odu. So that's what this workshop is for. So if you are someone you've already received your hand of Ifa and you're in your learning process and you're learning Odu and you're looking for a group of folks that you can continue that learning with, that's what it's for. That's literally what this is for. Now, if you have not received hand of Ifa, then that's a different conversation. But if you already have your hand of Ifa, and then yeah, that would be something for you, because you would be at minimum doing your dafa. So then I guess the first thing for you is to see if receiving hand of Ifa is for you. And if so, I do have a hand of Ifa class. And if you take the hand of Ifa class, depending on which payment plan you use to pay for your classes, it will also pay off your ceremony. So you can always get a divination done. If that's the only thing you want to know, then you just need the one question one. That link's in my bio. There's one that's just literally, you just have one question and you can make that your one question. And then we can consult Ifa about what that would look like for you, if it's in alignment for you to do, if it's in alignment for you to do with me, because just because I get the yes, it's in alignment, doesn't mean my class is the one that you could take. But you might end up coming to me because my friend also has a hand of Ifa class. So it might be his class that you need to take. So either way, I would say book that. Once I see the payment come through, I will reach out and be like, okay, let's talk about coordinating a day and a time for us to do it. So unless O'Shea Ifa is on Christmas Day, just as I don't celebrate Christmas, and my kids their dad has them on Christmas. So I probably have time on Christmas to do divinations too, for those who don't celebrate and want to know if I'm working on Christmas Day. I can't do the math off the top of my head, so I don't know if that day is O'Shea Ifa off the top of my head or not. And I'm O'Shea Ifa, I'm not working. Because the only work I do on that day is morning veneration, or like tomorrow, Itadu. So tomorrow is Itadu. We'll be doing our community. Okay, I will be looking. So you send that payment to me. It'll have your email address, and I just reach out to you and see what time works for you. But tomorrow is Itadogun, so I will be tomorrow morning doing veneration. I'll be on here and on Zoom, and then once I'm done with offerings, we will switch gears into Zoom only, at which time I will cast to see what wisdom Ifa. And this is the last Itadogun for the year. I just realized that. This is the last Itadogun for 2024. So by all means, if you can join us in the Zoom to see what closing out the year message that we get from Ifa, I think that tomorrow will be a really beautiful message from Ifa. So I'm really excited to see what that message is going to be. But otherwise, I hope that all of y'all got something that I just hope you felt like this was time well spent, regardless of how long you hung out with me. I'm going to go and cleanse some bracelets and ankle bracelets and box up some gifts so that I can surprise some people when my kids get therapy. Otherwise, Odabo. I'm about to say, like,